I used to really enjoy Escape from Tarkov, but as the wipes go on, I find myself playing it less and less. This isn't because I've gotten tired of the game, it simply isn't as fun anymore. I have a desire to have fun playing Tarkov, but I do not have the desire to play it, if that makes sense. I can be somewhere other than home and watch a video of someone playing this game and then feel so excited to get home so I can play it myself. But when I actually sit down to play, all of that excitement leaves. I figure, why bother? Escape from Tarkov started off as enjoyable for me, but to enjoy it now feels like a chore. Anytime I play, it feels like a desperate attempt to squeeze any amount of fun from this game because I remember how enjoyable it used to feel to me. This joy didn't just up and leave. It was a slow decline over multiple wipes, a result of the decisions, choices, and unmet expectations from BSG. To keep this video from being all over the place, I want to try and consolidate these issues into three main areas: formula, realism, and quality of life. Formula. I want to talk about three games that aren't Tarkov for a moment: the Soul series, Call of Duty, and Battlefield. These are franchises that have existed before Tarkov, and for the most part, the same studios have developed these games again and again over the years. In that time of creating more titles for their franchise, they've perfected each game's formula. Call of Duty focuses on fast-paced, short matches. If you die, you can respawn and get right back into the action with your same loadout. Battlefield focuses on slight more realism with its bullet drop and then its large-scale maps to accommodate its game modes and larger player lobbies. Dark Souls focuses on punishing and unpredictable enemies that give you a sense of accomplishment once you finally defeat them. None of these games have switched up on the core formula of what makes their games fun. Dark Souls has used enemies with unpredictable attack patterns in every game. Battlefield has used bullet drop and large-scale maps in every game. Call of Duty has kept to the formula of fast-paced, constant action in every game. These developers know their audience, and that's why their audience keeps coming back. Imagine if Call of Duty decided to pull a page from Battlefield's book and require you to spawn all the way from home base instead of right into the action after a death because your spawn point was contested. Escape from Tarkov's developers have their formula, but they've begun to tweak it too much. Now I understand the hubris in telling someone they are going about it the wrong way when creating a game that they want to create in their desired way. But as a player and a beta tester, I figured my opinion would matter at least a little. They just doubled down on making the game harder for no reason other than the fact that they want it to be difficult. It's almost as if the game being difficult is more important than the game being fun to them. One way BSG seems to be pushing difficulty is through realism. Part of what makes Tarkov difficult is its realism, and I do say that in quotations for a reason. Escape from Tarkov is a video game. There's nothing real about it. The weapon customization is detailed. Different injuries require different remedies. You can't just hide in a corner somewhere and wait for the screen to stop blinking red in order to heal. A gunfight can easily be decided in 1 or 2 bullets, and the list goes on. However, at the end of the day, this is a video game. Sure, a splint remedies a broken bone in the game, but it takes months for a broken bone to heal in real life. Yes, I can die of hunger and thirst in the game, but I can go days without actual food in real life. Tarkov is very picky when it comes to when it wants to be real and when it wants to be fake. How real should this game be? How video game-like should it be? These are things you ask yourself when thinking of the formula of a game, as we previously discussed. Let's look at an example of extreme, again, in quotation marks, realism in Tarkov. Inertia was introduced in patch 12.12, dated 12 December 2021, and man, this one hurt. Essentially, the heavier and weaker you are, the less quickened your maneuverability is. For example, say you're overweight in Raid. There's an enemy around the corner, and you want to get a quick peek, so you move off to the side and try to move back into cover. But because of inertia, your player has to come to a slow and then a stop before moving back in the other direction behind cover. This is inertia. Now, I'm not going to use the excuse of we are highly trained and conditioned private military company characters to justify a lack of inertia. I'm going to use the fact that this is a video game to justify a lack of inertia. I understand there is a weight and strength system in the game, but those already played a role in determining how far we could sprint before running out of stamina, how high we could jump, and how far we could throw. You ask me, You got your formula done well right there, BSG. This is an online game that has suffered from desync issues for a very long time. Desync and inertia together make for a very bad time. I've explained what inertia is, now I'll explain desync. Let's say again there's an enemy around the corner, so you do a little peek and you actually get back behind cover before you can be shot. However, even though you are behind cover, you still get head-eyed. You just experienced desync, where on your side of the game, you were completely hidden, but between you, the servers, and the other player, you were completely exposed the entire time, and so their hits register. Inertia can only make desync worse, almost as if it's not ready to be or even should be in the game in the first place. So why is it so important that a botched and faulty, realistic feature like inertia make it into the game over changes that are just quality of life? Escape from Tarkov is known to wipe every 6 months, and notoriously on the wipes a major change takes place that affects how the game is played for the duration of that wipe. However, I don't believe a major update needs to happen every 6 months. A wipe, sure, but an update? It feels as if 6 months is a deadline for rolling out the next big update. But I believe BSG should consider a rollback for their next wipe. One of the largest updates to the game that affected playstyles and the economy of the game was the infamous 12.6 wipe, dated 28 May 2020. With this wipe, items in your secure container lost their found in raid status if you didn't make it out of the raid alive. This was the patch that turned so many people into rats, me included for a while, I won't even lie to you. See, before, if you found something valuable in raid, you could stuff it in your secure container and play as reckless as you wanted for the rest of the raid. If you died, so what? You've got an intel folder in your secure container, you can sell it to get your rubles back. With this patch, the stakes were raised to unprecedented levels. Fights began to not be worth it to a large group of players. In those early days of a wipe, those Salewas and flash drives can be a real pain to find, and now that I've found one, you think I'm going to run around the map with 28 minutes still left in the raid? This patch served no purpose other than to make the game difficult for the sake of being difficult, and to reduce the fun factor. It seems that more and more keeps being added to or reworked in the game when the formula was already nice. I don't knock BSG for experimenting. The game is still in beta, and so much could be balanced out or fixed by full release. However, it would be a huge step in the right direction to slow down and fix what's in the game and broken already. This is the part where I tell you I meant to have this video out before the wipe. But since we're here, I can say that I do appreciate the fix to recoil. I do appreciate the fix to inertia. These are all good. But why does wearing an earpiece hurt my ears in real life to the point where I want to lower my game volume and render the earpieces ineffective? I can hear my own player actions so ridiculously loud to the point it hurts. Why can scavs who are supposedly starving civilians resorting to a life of crime just to get by feel the presence of me looking at them through a scope 200 meters away in a window and instantly one-tap me as if they were genetically enhanced super soldiers? Bosses who already have a low spawn rate sometimes don't even spawn with their boss items required for quests, and then on top of that you have to make it out alive with those items, or else do another 50 raids to not only get a boss spawn but a boss item spawn as well. Quality of life changes like this would make the game so much more enjoyable, but as I've said, BSG seems to be focused on making the game difficult for the sake of being difficult, not fun. I just hope that by the time full release comes around, they've considered these things and others and have come to a better conclusion. I'd be lying if I said these things were killing the game, but the average player charts don't lie. Perhaps BSG won't roll back any changes because the game is still doing well despite how much it feels they've butchered it. As I've said, they keep making the game more difficult, and the more difficult you make a game, the more likely people are to cheat. But that's another topic for another video. However, on a personal note, I played Tarkov so very little last wipe. I got up to level 24, I think, and that's it. Most days I did play were only because of the fear of missing out, you know? Not wanting to be left behind. I honestly haven't even played much this wipe. I logged in to claim my username, but that's about it. It's sad for me to say that because I'm a gamer. It's my biggest hobby, and Tarkov was one of my most favorite games. However, with the direction that it's heading in, it's becoming more and more difficult to enjoy the game. As someone with a job and very little time to enjoy my hobbies, I can't for sure say Tarkov is where I want to focus that little amount of time that I do have. No, I don't plan to write the game off entirely and just quit. but I surprised myself if I even made it to level 20 this wipe. I understand the game is supposed to be punishing and unforgiving, that's kind of like its whole shtick, but that shouldn't be to the point of preventing me from having fun in the game. How do you all feel about the state of Tarkov at the moment? Have you played more or less this wipe? Let me know in the comments down below.